Hello, Night City. It's David Jones at WPGM 150, The Postmortem. Talk about a busy weekend. Y'all catch that slogan for Shirts broadcast? That was insane. Aside from making a lot of musicians weep by destroying all that beautiful gear, they have submitted rumors that they're in talks with DM brands who put the broadcast on about their musical future. However, there might be trouble in paradise because a PR rep for Yona Total of the New Trash has released a statement saying that if DM brands is gonna sign slogans for shirts, TNT might just move on to greener pastures. Either way, they're definitely giving us something to talk about. Hey everybody, welcome back to hell.
Hell?
Nope, that was last week.
No, I'd say that was the Bali game, Ray. Wrong game.
Yeah, fair enough. For tonight, we were going to be doing the whole tractor trailer's worth of goods that the band was going to be giving away after they procured it with about, a little over $26,000 worth of proceeds they got from their show for DM brands. Instead of keeping it all, they decided they want to give pretty much half of it away. However, the solo is not here, and there was a definitive thinking of we probably should wait for him before we go ahead and do that. So we're going to push that off until our next session. Now we have a bit of interim time to fill. Remember, it was still going to be like a week or so before you guys actually got delivery of all the goods to give out. So there's time to fill. And in that time, I know that some people want to do certain things to kind of buff themselves up in terms of like what their repertoire of skills has to offer and what they have in terms of supplies. So to those ends, we have Polly going to the landfill southeast of the city to start scavenging for parts and extra stuff for the give out, because she wants to do some repair work for people while you guys are giving stuff away. And I know Max want to go back to the Snake Nation and see about getting somebody who can teach him how to fly, helicopters, which he has access to now, because that's a thing that's insane, or other types of flying vehicles. And that's not a problem either. Both of these things will take probably a handful of days in their own right, at least to start getting connections with somebody on Max's side of things to get a teacher and get the basics down, because there's a lot more involved with flying than just driving a car. So that's going to be a process. The stuff with Polly will just take a couple days of getting out to the landfill and scheduling through some stuff. You're going to be basically working a whole 8 to 10 hour day the day that you're out there to start scavenging parts. You're going through all sorts of old vehicles, old appliances, old hardware. It's just a ton of shit to start dealing with. You do get a good deal of spare parts, definitely more than enough, you would assume, to do any sort of basic repairs or things of that nature that may come down the line at your guys' little giveaway, your charity event. So you get essentially enough to fill the back of the station wagon, the Thunderbird. You fill up entirely with good parts. And the problem is you guys just right now have the hotel. So Polly's thing takes about 2 days.
We need to check in on where we're at with getting that warehouse space.
Yeah, we need to talk to Tyra.
So
hey, Vox. Can you call Tyra?
Tyra can be looking for this stuff, and she has been looking for it, but she's been finding offers all over the place. But she needs to have a place narrowed down by you guys, roughly where you want it to be. Haywood and Santo Domingo, which is also, it's a part of Haywood that people have started naming Santo Domingo. That's got a lot of abandoned buildings, warehouses, old strip malls, things that have been kind of overcrowded with all these people that have been packed into these incredibly dense suburban areas right across, Morro Bay there. So you can also go within the industrial zone itself, of which there are, in which there are a lot of warehouses, some that are still for rent, some that are up for grabs. So you guys have a really good bet of getting stuff in the Haywood area. That's a really good option. Or if you guys want to go to a combat zone, that's always really going to be cheap.
Well, it's going to be really dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you could technically get some around a gang that you have connections with, because remember, they'll try to protect your house too, watch over you, make sure nobody's ganking your shit while you're out, essentially.
Right, especially if we're in their territory,
Well, neither of mine, I don't think, have actual territories. Because the Steel of Heroes, they're practically nomads.
I personally am cool with wherever you guys want to go. I definitely think something near a combat zone would be useful because of the, like we were talking about before, with the kind of built-in protection with the gangs and stuff. And a lot of people, if you're not from a combat zone, you don't want to go to a combat zone. So that's a deterrent unto itself.
Right.
My 2 cents.
I mean, Polly's got 2 links. I only have 1. And Polly's 2 links are kind of vaguely in the same area, and mine doesn't technically have a set stomping ground.
No, but they do have a presence like around Upper Marina.
Right, by the marina, which is exactly how far away from everything else?
Upper Marina is up in the North Green, like way up here.
It's just north of the bridge connecting the island to
Little Europe
the
area.
mainland.
Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see it right there. There we go. And then all of yours are Santo Domingo and Haywood, which is far more south.
Well,
which is where we are.
I've got
six.
Haywood and Coastal Highway, so like probably
Yeah.
Eastern Haywood,
This
basically.
the steel goes along the Coastal Highway, and then the 6th has spots in Haywood and in the combat zones, and they have a presence in Little Europe. There's actually a particular chapel that they protect up in Little Europe.
Okay, well, I mean, Little Europe would get the 6th, like the area of Little Europe and the Upper Marina would get the 6th and the Mox.
Right, but that's going to be a lot more expensive in terms of rent.
Right. Which, admittedly, if we can't make by drumming up drama or whatever else, not going to last long. And Haywood is going to be cheaper.
I like the idea of either one of the combat zones or Haywood.
Let's go with Haywood, because Combat Zone is just asking for more trouble.
All right, then the question is with Haywood, are we going to do Haywood Industrial, Haywood just outside the industrial, or
Santo Domingo.
the eastern end of Haywood, closer to the Coastal Highway?
Well, if I remember right, we just had some trouble in the industrial zone, didn't we?
Oh, you know, Maelstrom hangs out there.
Yeah.
Maelstrom does hang out there occasionally, but that's also where Vox was taken when he was kidnapped by the Wild Things.
So maybe let's not go there. Not like we're not going to have trouble, because I mean, if the Maelstrom wants to fuck with somebody, they're gonna fuck with. That's what they do. They go where they want to, and they do what they want to. There's nothing we can do to stop that.
Maelstrom has a lot of people in a lot of places. Alternatively, you guys can get a place in the Badlands.
We could.
You
Just outside the city?
Yeah, you just may not. You may have issues with getting some sort of like reception for data pool shit.
Yeah.
You'd have to either.
Right, we would have to film. We wouldn't really be able to do live without a crazy setup, I would think.
Yeah, we would have
We could do
to
shows
film it and then go
upload. Right, upload to the net when we bring it into town.
You could do that, and you could also have Poly build like a transmitter tower. Do you have enough time and resources?
But that also might
That's
be
a lot of
rather
resources, but
obvious.
yeah, that can be done.
Yeah.
Could be done, but it could also be rather obvious.
Not necessarily. It depends on how the building's set up and a lot of other factors in it, but yeah.
I'm done with that. We've been lucky so far with the just being out there in general. Like we
Please
know we
find
have
the nearest
connections
piece of
out there.
wood knock.
Okay, well, if you want to look at something like that, then might I suggest that eastern part of, it looks like Haywood, that goes out over Highway 1?
But now getting out in the Badlands, there's a couple things that are pro and a couple things that are con. Pro, you probably won't have to pay fucking rent at all, unless you actually get something like that's protected by a nomad encampment, in which case you just pay protection money, essentially is what it is. So that's your
Right,
rent.
the Snake Nation or whatever.
Right. Also pro, you're going to be isolated. It's going to be a lot harder for somebody to just run across you and start going at you. You know what I mean? Like you can have meetings out there, it'd be a lot safer.
That's a lot of kill zone around us too.
Yeah, the cons are you have to find a way to jury-rig power and, you know, data pool access. That's a big one. So Poly is going to be put to work double time. This may actually take some time to do.
Power, water.
Yep,
All that.
Right, we
utilities,
have to
all
make
of
it
your.
livable.
Yep. You have to do a lot of stuff out there to make it okay. So it's going to take a lot of setup. Second con, right now, that Max knows about, you have the Wraiths. the Raph and Shiv have been really fucking with a lot of the other clans right now. They actually
that's right.
kidnapped somebody from Snake Nation that Max had to take care of, the last time you guys got together before the show. So that's where he was. And the Wraiths are becoming a bit of a problem out there.
It's one of the
What do you
reasons
think,
why
Max?
if we do Badlands, as long as we don't go too far out, I think we'll be okay. It'll be easier to set shit up.
Is it necessarily going to matter to them, though? Especially since, I mean, not that they necessarily know
Right.
that it was our solo who murked the fuck out of him.
No, they don't. They killed everybody that saw him. Well,
Yeah.
he did kill everybody who saw him.
He is
Yeah.
the antithesis of Batman. But that is an issue to think about, especially since we know they can at least, especially if they get paid by someone enough, get their hands on some pretty heavy ordnance.
I don't have a problem with the Badlands. I think the Badlands is a good idea. One that gives us direct and close contact with Snake Nation, which helps Max out and helps us out in general. And we can, if the gangs want to send people out, like you still want to tap the gangs, I'm sure we could work something out, figure it out with the Snake Nation, or give them like the surrounding buildings that we have, so that works as their areas. I don't know. There's a lot we can do to build it up. It's going to take time and role play and contacts, basically.
Well, yeah,
Right.
and whether or not we're able to even convince the gangs to leave the city.
Well, I don't think it has-
We're still in the middle of the Snake Nation.
I don't think there's that. I'm too much worried as far as like having a new chapter come up where we're at, because that's basically what it's going to be. They're not going to relocate. They may open a chapter, but they're not going to relocate.
Well, you got to think about this. To actually have a gang open a chapter, there has to be people there.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
if you're in the Badlands, that's the only people that are
There's
out
nobody.
there that stay are nomads. So essentially, you'd be asking a gang to open up a nomad chapter, like to be nomads. In which case, you might as well just actually talk to a nomad clan and have
Right,
them
just
help you
pull
out.
from the Snake Nation.
Now, that doesn't mean you guys lose, the benefit of knowing these gangs and these important people in these gangs that are cool with you. When you come to Night City, you still have those connections, right? You still
Right.
have those people you can deal with, and if you guys want to do stuff like think of this now, like we need to find some supplies. Anybody selling some shit, they may be able to point you to like some small night markets, like nothing big, but like, hey, well, I know some people who are selling some shit in a house like a couple streets down, that type of stuff. Or you can get your gigs off of working with them, and that's totally fine. It's just they won't be around to protect you at that point because you're in nomad territory. And if a gang starts traveling out to nomad territory, either they're starting a new like pack, or they're joining a clan. Essentially.
Right.
My preference would be to not be in the Badlands.
Really?
Yeah. Reason being, aside from the danger aspect of it, with all the bullshit going down, I think, at least from my perspective, having separate places and separate environments is advantageous, because if I need to lay low somewhere, if we need to lay low somewhere, we can hit the Badlands. I could call in some favors, and we could lay low with Snake Nation for a little bit. If we're already in the Badlands on Snake territory and shit goes sour, we're moving from one place to another place in the same area that we're already in, rather than having two different places, two different environments to be in, two different setups. So it's almost like, from my perspective, it's almost like, let's have two separate, or for me anyways, let's have two separate lives. Like there's my nomad life and there's my this shit life, like two families separate, two safe spaces. Not that I care more about one than the other, really. It's just, I don't know.
No, I see what you're saying too.
you know.
Because every time we've gone out to the Badlands, aside from playing the one gig to kick this whole thing off, we've gone out there and Snake Nation has been like, yeah, come on over here, hang out. We've gone out there to chill and get the fuck away from all the shit.
And if shit goes south, I don't want to bring heat out there already, because then that disrupts everything. Like that, like it's almost like putting everything in one, all of your assets and all of your safety in like one basket, and then like if shit goes down and people find us or are coming for us or whatever, like that's all we got. Whereas if we have something that's in like the city or other places that you guys are talking about,
You have somewhere to flee.
We have some space. Yeah.
Well, there's that in being out in the Badlands. You know, I could spend weeks building something. If we got to up and leave, we're leaving all of that behind. If somebody blows, if somebody, you know, shoots the shit out of the warehouse, we get another warehouse. And hooking things up to existing electric and all that other shit is way less expensive and time consuming than building everything from scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's go back to the Haywood idea.
Other than that, I don't really have any preference because as a nomad, I feel like the idea of living on the road in a vehicle and moving from place to place in the city, like that sounds awesome to me, with the option of always being able to go back home into the Badlands and hang with my family and you know, do whatever. So like putting roots down anywhere else, like in the city, just feels like foreign for me. But if it's what you guys want to do, you're my family too. So like I'm with you, but I just don't really have a strong opinion on, like, I'll help it out however I can, but like I don't have a strong opinion on where that happens. So other than like a preference for not the Badlands, like I'm good with whatever you guys want to do, like 100% behind you.
So why don't we look for a spot in Haywood then?
Yeah, I'd say I think Haywood's a good option.
Now we just need to figure out where in Haywood.
So really, there are two main questions that Tyra is going to have for you guys about that get up. One, do you want to do it in the industrial center, or do you want to do it in Haywood proper, the suburban sprawl, essentially? And two, if you do it outside of the industrial park, do you want to? Are you open to doing something other than a warehouse, like say an abandoned strip mall or something along those lines?
Ooh, that would be awesome.
I'd be down with that. Abandoned strip malls.
Well, okay, then you have the answer.
You guys let Tyra know that you're open for Haywood and you're really, really intrigued by the idea of doing a small strip mall, like an abandoned one. She basically says, yeah, no problem. I'll start looking into stuff. Give me maybe a week or two.
Sure.
So that leaves us in this position where a couple of days pass and Polly has gathered all the stuff that's kind of packed the back of the Thunderbird. Now you guys still have, I think the last place you guys stayed at a hotel was in the city still?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you still have that hotel you guys got in Haywood. I mean, this will fill up probably half of one of the rooms you have. The amount of stuff that she picked up from the you know.
Polly, you're sleeping in it.
Okay.
So you unpack all that. Takes a bit of time, but there's plenty of stuff. Like there's a lot of parts here for all kinds of electronics, all kinds of even mechanical work. So you've got a good assortment of raw materials to do a lot of repairs. It's not going to be anything phenomenal, but you can definitely use the materials you have after a day or two of scavenging to get some good repair stuff in. Anything quality though, like if you're going to do another upgrade or repair for like Vox or anybody else,
it's not going to be upgrade. It's going to be, you know, bring your toaster, bring your you know, bring your agents, bring, you know, stuff around the house that needs to be repaired or fixed.
Right.
You know, that's what it is.
Bullshit.
That type of stuff you'll have no issue with whatsoever. For anything cyberware grade or around that type, like new and improved shit, you'll probably want to go to a night market and get more quality materials. But this, for now, you've got a really, really nice stockpile to work with.
Anybody coming with that stuff looking for that is going to get a card to contact me, you know, on my agent at a later time. Definitely do it, but I'm going to have all these boxes of stuff, and none of it is cyber grade.
Right. For Max, the flying lessons that Santiago hooks you up with is not actually with anybody from Snake Nation. They have to do a bit of reach out, and they get a hold of one of the guys from El Sangre, which is the clan that you guys did the subset of the Blood Nation that you guys did the show for. You basically
and
go
also
out,
saved El Patre.
Yep, a little farther east and to the north to get your lessons in. He basically teaches you how to fly on a small little, like, one propeller, one wing prop plane. So your first couple lessons that go for a couple days are just reading the instrument panels, learning how to take off, you know, what type of things you can encounter while you're in the air, what to look for. Basically, start giving you a manual to read and start going through the things in the manual like a checklist, and then get you to a little bit of practice and some practical experience in the air with them piloting primarily. over the course of this series of lessons, you find out that the Wraiths have picked up a fucking Zeppelin. They literally raided another clan and stole a Zeppelin.
Fucking Zeppelin.
They have a fucking blimp.
Who the hell had that in the first place that they stole it from?
Just shoot it. The hydrogen they use in that thing
one of their
is
clans, yes, because they use hydrogen in rigid airships these days. You're not Archer. Christ,
Oh, the humanity.
Hindenburg, man.
But there was a clan out here. There are clans that do the aerial, like, cargo routes. They're not very common, and you know they exist. You're not quite sure who it is out here that's doing it right now. That would take a little bit of, like, boots on the ground type stuff. But, yeah, rumor is that the Wraiths have a fucking airship now.
That's bad. That's real bad.
Yeah, that's a bombing run.
They,
Did CD keep the sniper rifle?
Yes,
out
he
of
did.
curiosity. Okay.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep,
wait, yes, he did.
absolutely, You did.
Yeah, he kept that sniper rifle.
I'm going to upgrade the shit out of that thing when he's not looking.
You'd do it even if he was looking, provided he wasn't looking down a sight at you.
No, he
Right.
specifically asked him not to fuck with his weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm specifically not allowed to touch his weapons. So it has to be while he's asleep or knocked out.
Or not here.
Or not. Yeah, no, he took it with him.
I mean, what?
If he's not here, neither are his weapons.
Yeah.
Depends on the weapon.
No,
No.
he's
He
got it.
doesn't go anywhere
No.
with
He doesn't
his,
go
without
without
his guitar case.
They're in his keytar, and he's also got that sniper rifle can be broken down, so he's got the case for that too. So I guarantee that goes with him as well. Now, with this new information about the Raff and Shiv that are the Wraiths, you do get some confirmation that they definitely hit an Arasaka convoy at some point in the past couple of weeks. That is a definite, and that's where they got the weapons to kind of pull off this kind of heist. They're getting a bit more dangerous.
Sounds like they're getting bigger if they're hitting Arasaka and then right away hitting another clan for a fucking Zeppelin. Like,
Well, you got to think the Wraiths are just one clan of Raff and Shiv, right? There are just Raff and Shiv that aren't aligned, and if the Wraiths are pulling off a important enough or a impressive enough job, they may be drawing more of those outcasts to them.
is there any plans or any talk of anybody hitting back at him?
As of right
If
now,
if nothing else, just to like take away resources or reduce their numbers a little bit.
as of right now, no. Snake Nation moved against them purely because they kidnapped somebody from Snake Nation during that convoy with Biotechnica. So that was a big deal for the clan to get back, one, the lost members that were taken captive by the Raff and Shiv, and two, the medicine that you guys needed for your members. Now, there may be some thoughts of a little bit of retaliation for that, but really nobody's going out of their way to deal with them because they haven't really been that big of a threat to anybody yet. It's just like maybe here or there they'll do a strike on another nomad camp or another nomad tribe that's passing through or a pack. Nothing too big yet. The Zeppelin is a big thing for damn sure. That's a big deal. But it's one of those things where it's like, that wasn't ours. And really, they're kind of hard not to see if one's coming over the horizon. So that it's not really a concern as of yet because nobody really knows if they have it armed, if they do, what it's armed with. You know, Zeppelins, for those that go in a more aerial clan, you know, as far as their routes and their runs, Zeppelins are really good. Short range fighters are really, really good. It's all about using the Zeppelins as like an intel base to kind of get awareness of what's on the ground and as a delivery system, as opposed to like, it's the mothership, it's a battleship. It's not at all. You know, an RPG can take one out. So it's more of a nuisance than a threat at this point in time.
We know where you'd hide one of those if you stole it.
Some of the
Kind
mountains.
of very large hell.
Yeah, really.
So that's the rumors you get off of your flight instructor and just being around in the Badlands to just chat about shit for a couple of days. Again, it's a nuisance more than a threat right now, so nobody's really organizing against them quite yet. Obviously, the clan that they stole that from, gonna have some issues with them, and a little more time out here and some work with some of these clans might kind of piece together who that was and how it went down. If you guys want to take a sidetrack at some point and do that, we can do that.
Yeah, I do. Because like what I just heard is that I have to go steal back
A
Zeppelin.
fucking air vehicle.
Right?
I'd
Like,
say
I thought that
I
was
just
like-
heard we're about to get into a dogfight.
It was obvious to me. Like,
Right.
here's piloting lessons. Oh, and by the way, there's a missing Zeppelin. Like, I'm not going to go after that.
Yeah. Yeah. We caught the smoke signal. We're good.
Fair enough. That's the Zeppelin is going to be where it's at apparently. So you guys get your basic stuff done. You get the flying lessons in, you get stuff from the landfill, you kind of unpack it out of the Thunderbird into the hotel rooms, one of the ones that you guys have. You have still several days before everything shows up. Now, CD has to head out because he needs to confer with the solos that are going to be working the job on the ground to make sure they understand where he's coming from, what he wants them to do. He also wants to confer with Rogue on how the stuff's getting procured and the quality of the materials that you guys are getting. So he's going to be gone for a couple of days handling all this shit. You guys have downtime? What do you all want to do?
We just did a really, really great concert, and I'm kind of waiting for
Right.
the backlash. I don't want to go out too much because I don't know what the backlash is yet from DMS.
There isn't any.
Right, because in theory, they don't know what we did because it was a hidden message.
It's not even that. Like, you guys already met with DMS, DM brands about.
Right, they
The
want to bring
results
us
of that.
on.
Right.
They offered to hire you. They
Well,
gave you
Michelle
50
wants to hire us.
Well, right, but she can't do anything with approval. So you guys got 50 grand from the show, and you have a penthouse for 6 months.
Right,
Which
which we're going
that-
to
get
get in
5 families
some
in.
people.
That's the backlash for the message you guys put out there.
Right.
Is setting up a bunch of families in the penthouse while we're not there.
Yeah, free 6 months of rent. 6 months no rent.
I mean, there is the show. I could go do that. There's also the run.
Yeah.
We could do the run, or if nobody else, like if there's nothing else really going on, like I'm perfectly content to like do nomad shit, see what's up with the Snake Nation, look more into the rates,
And the
See-
Zeppelin.
I'm down with
see
that
about
too.
this Zeppelin.
I don't mind it. I mean,
Or do a
down-
different
I mean,
job
drive
for
a
the
fucking
family. I
Zeppelin.
mean, I know, like I just gave him a bunch of fucking money, but like, yeah, I'm sure they're looking to like expand or something, or they have enemies, or I can make some calls and see about tracking on a night market if Polly wants to go do that, and we can see what craziness that unfolds this time around.
Right. I need to check in with Mama June or whatever. I forgot her name.
Yeah. My default is
see.
pretty much always going to be a bit just back to nomad family stuff, just because that's kind of where I'm anchored to. I feel like.
Right, and we've gone out there and we've been taken care of by nomads, so I have no problem like kind of polishing that rep up. Kind of like building some goodwill credit with whether it's El Pache or if it's with Snake Nation, with your family, either both sides, we need to polish that rep on. I've got no problem with that because that gives us bolt holes in case shit goes down. But we've got potentially a couple of weeks before we can start locking down a strip mall and also doing our doing the food drop and shit. So I mean, we got some downtime to fill. I mean, other than every now and again upload one of the new songs that we debuted on the cast. Wait for those sales to go through, die down, to get the next one out, and just keep releasing those singles. What are we doing?
I'm down for what the group's down for.
I would like to potentially do a net run, but that's just me.
I'm up for the net run if everybody else is.
Now, for chat
Sure.
and for clarification, the net run you guys are talking about is the Continental Brands office run.
Yep.
Right. to get what we can, especially on the Hall family, considering they have a personal vendetta against us because of what happened a couple game sessions ago.
That guy specifically, like the Hall family in Polly's, as far as Polly's concerned, they need to go. Period. They need to lose everything. But that guy who came at you twice,
fuck that guy.
He's lost it, man. Screw him.
That guy can get fucked. All right.
I guess that's the answer.
Expect to see all 23 of those dice disappear.
Hey,
so they're there for.
Yep, they're there to be used.
Yep.
All right. So going over my cyberware real fast, I'm gonna link up with everything I can.
Okay. So.
Oh, wait a minute. Didn't Ray? I want to have my memory refreshed. That guy that we went and got the insulated cables and everything, and Z got more programs. He had net running suits too, right?
Yes, he did.
And that amps up Z's
I think
abilities.
I'm pretty sure I already have that.
You don't have one. You have light armor.
No, you don't have one yet. Because I remember we were talking about it because I can upgrade slots on that too.
Right.
And upgrade the armor on it.
All right. Do we want to hit a night market real fast and see if we can nab one?
Gotta find one, but
I
sure.
apologize. My contacts are drying out my eyes like crazy today.
Or see if Max can call whoever he talked to that got in touch with that guy to see if we can meet him. Because he's got the goods that we're looking at. To see if maybe he wants to do a meet. And we'll go to him.
Is that the same guy who we did the deal with the additional stipulation that we do a favor for him?
No, that's Raphael's the guy who was selling the cyber deck stuff and the programs. That's the old woman.
Yeah.
Who Polly was talking to, and that was for a discount. And her favor was just helping to disassemble and assemble some
helping
things.
Whatever, a favor to be named later.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know about getting in touch with that dude directly, but I could call Santiago and ask him, and if he doesn't know, maybe he'll know where a night market is.
Hey Z, have I done anything? Have I done any upgrades to your helmet?
Not since the last time you upgraded it.
What did I put in it?
Range extender.
No, that was your
cyber deck.
Oh.
I'm talking about your helmet. You want me to install your goggles into your helmet so you don't have to take your helmet off and put your neck goggles on?
Might not be a bad idea.
I'm down.
Go. Helmet off.
You're basically taking her neck goggles and installing them completely. So you have to completely dismantle them and put them back together inside the helmet.
Right.
I'm going to put it at an 18.
Alrighty.
Got some D's.
You got it.
See what you get. Do you want to use... Well, actually, the dice are rerolls. We'll use them after the fact.
Right. I'm going to put 2 luck into it.
Okay.
And I still add my my tech to this because it's tech.
Yep.
Plus 2 plus 4. Oh, and it's a crit.
So you got a 29-33. So you can do it. It takes about a day and a half to get this done, just because of the intricacy of the work that you have to pull off. But once you get going, everything just falls into place very, very smoothly for Polly. And it gets done, and you actually make it really awesome functionality-wise. You can just flip them on and flip them off without even have to mess with too much. It would be a really quick and easy thing. And plus, nobody will notice that she's wearing virtuality goggles, so it works awesome for her walking around the helmet. Now, the question is, as you're gearing up for this, and Polly's repairing, well, not repairing, but basically dismantling the helmet and your goggles, what are you loading into your deck?
Well, I have 12 slots. Wisp is the anti-program one, so I'll put that in there. Speedy Gonzalez absolutely is going in there. Vrizbolt, armor, sword, shield. See ya. Eraser.
Okay, so you got 10 available.
Yeah. So pretty much I can load up everything I have to try and go after this.
Do what you gotta do, lady.
Still pretty sure I'm outgunned on this one, but we'll give it a shot and see what happens. Worst comes to worst, I just wind up with a fried brain and comatose.
At which point we'll name our next album after you.
Please do. The Legend of Z.
All right, so you get all your problems loaded up, and it does take a while to load them all up into the deck because you didn't have them all. You just had a selection before. This is a little bit more intensive. You basically max out the storage capacity of your cyber deck. You get the deck loaded up. Polly fixes everything up with your goggles so you can work them straight from your helmet. Everything's set to go. It's just, when do you want to go?
Immediately after.
All right, so you guys go that afternoon or that night?
Night's probably easier, admittedly.
All right, what time are you thinking?
Oh, probably around 11-ish.
Well, part of the whole idea of you guys going with is you'd cause a distraction for me. So we need to go while they're still open.
Why?
Because
We
you
can
can't
break
cause a
in.
distraction. Yeah, sure, if you want the cops to show up and start shooting us.
You'll get corporate
Not if
security
Polly-
first.
Right, not if Polly disables their alarms, then we just have to deal with whoever's on scene.
The net runner can turn the
Or you.
alarms off.
Right.
Yeah.
Or we can go whenever you want. I am down.
Yeah, going in with our helmets and faked corp badge isn't gonna work.
No, not even remotely. I'd say I was able to get the
Or-
layout just because CD walked in and was distracting the security guard at the front by causing a ruckus inside the store. If you guys can do that in multiple points, that would be helpful because that'll keep them off me long enough for hopefully me to get in there, get to the files I need to get to, break that shit open, steal all of it, worm it away, and come out.
All right.
Sure.
Sounds a lot easier than it actually is, so please be ready to make a scene for a good long while. Vox, I'm not worried about you doing that. If there's one person who's geared to make people uncomfortable, it's you. So let's do this.
So what's the time again you want to go?
Probably an hour or two before closing. Since I assume they probably run at normal human business hours.
For the most part. So you're looking
Thank
at the most of the corporate employees will be out probably around like 5 or 6 o'clock at night.
Which is fine, except for their net runner. Or runners, plural. Don't
Well-
actually know how many are in there.
No, you don't. But it's a corporate station. It's a branch management facility essentially. So it's a branch of the corp. The corp's headquarters itself are north in the, I want to say it's in the University District or the Glen, one of the two. But as a branch, more than likely, security-wise, on site, there will be at least one net runner.
Right.
Mr. The
And-
Plague.
With the 12 layers of architecture in there, there's probably more than one.
Well, the levels don't matter. You know, it's... So from a net architecture perspective, as soon as you log in and you're not authorized, all ICE in the system know you're there. That's
Yeah.
just a fact of life.
Right.
So really, the system's primed against you from the moment you log in as an unauthorized user. That's flagged immediately right off the bat. So usually something of this nature, you're going to have one, maybe two net runners at most. It doesn't matter how many floors they have because there's going to be more than likely some sort of black ice.
Yeah.
That should slow you down, and by that point, it should slow you down enough for a net runner to catch up with you or track you, one of the two.
Which, if I remember right, there were several levels of black ice in there.
There were 2 killer ice, 1 wisp, and that's all. And a skunk that was there last time you were there.
Okay, so that's... Yeah, all right. Let's do this. Thankfully, I don't actually have to go in the building to do this.
So that's the dangerous thing. Last time when you did this, you just did a scan. You sat out there,
Yeah.
did a scan. It only took a couple minutes.
Yeah.
If you have to stick around outside in the same spot, because you will have to, for the entire time they're having a system alert, you're fried.
Yeah.
You need to find
basically
some
gonna get
place to
fragged.
hide or get inside the building. You won't be able to pull this off from outside because you're going to stick out like a sore thumb.
And I
This
can't
is-
just do
you
it from
need
the
to-
bathroom because there's no way I can link
Yeah,
up to that
You need
computer.
to have line of sight.
You have to have line of sight.
It's pre-Bluetooth. It's infrared.
Yeah, it's IR, and this is wonderful. If I remember right, there were 2 doors that required security to get in, and then there's the store, which didn't require security to get in.
Well, right, because it's a store.
Right. So the easiest way to do it is going to be doing it from the front of the store, and basically using that same terminal to boot in, because I don't have somebody to get me a key card.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Would it make sense for her to use the same terminal or one of the terminals in the store to unlock one of the security doors for us to open? Then she disconnects, comes in, finds another node to hook into.
So she has to find her way to the control node that handles security.
Yeah.
For
Which
whatever
there
door.
were a couple of those.
Yeah, it's not just I log in and then I start turning stuff off. She has to find the control node that actually controls those particular objects, and from there she can turn them off and like give access, etc. But she has to get there first.
I was just trying to figure out how to bypass the door to get in without tripping the alarm, so that she could be inside an office where there's nodes she can see, and we don't necessarily have to deal with customers at the bodega looking at us strangely.
Well, so I'll tell you right now, even I would have told this to CD if he was here, but I'm just going to give this to you. Doing it from either outside or inside that convenience store is a suicide run.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you do not want to do it from inside the convenience store. That's going to, first off, you got to think. You guys are showing up dressed up as slogans for shirts. A known issue, right. To Continental. And if you're there and their system pings an alert that there's problems with net running, who do you think they're going to look at first?
They're going to look at us immediately.
Yeah.
So that's going to be like, that's a dead giveaway. So you don't want to do it inside the convenience store unless you like knock out the security guard or kill him, knock out the clerk, lock all the doors, turn off the lights, and hold up inside the convenience store.
The original idea was to get CD to look at the place with me. You know, basically stake it out, wait for somebody to leave, follow them, knock them the fuck out, steal their goddamn badge, and use it to get in.
I'm down to try whatever it is you want to try.
That would be the easiest way to handle it.
Uh,
Or stealing things directly off them. I mean, you could always pickpocket it. Their agent.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
I'm probably
I'm pretty good at a
better
fight.
off persuading them out of it than actually pickpocketing.
That would be what, brawling?
Yeah.
I would think so.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, then. Get me a badge. Let's get in.
So I want to point this out because I don't want you guys to get in a situation where like, fuck, and they get frustrated.
Oh, we're gonna get there regardless of what you tell us.
You're going to.
I have a bad
So
feeling.
I just want to walk you through this. You're going to basically follow some corporate employee. You don't know what their job is, what they do, what their function is, who they are. Just knock them out
This may take some surveillance
and steal their
yeah,
shit,
it's-
and just hope for luck of the draw that it'll get you inside the right place you want to go. The easy way to do this, there's 2 of them. One is to do it this way, sure, but do surveillance, get some pictures, go on the web, see what you can get about people. That's going to take a couple of days. Or 2, you break in after hours.
That's another option.
Right.
That was my first idea.
Either way, there's a good chance of this devolving into violence.
And us having the bolt.
So I want you, before you guys start just randomly knocking out random Joe Schmo Continental Brands worker, I want to give you the option to like, all right, let's do some research first and then grab somebody before we start going, okay, guys, evens or odds. You know, oh, look, we're at our
Yeah,
5th
I'm
Continental
really-
Brands employee. And we're just still pulling the
I'm-
wrong cards.
I'm really thinking that a janitor who works the night shift, if we can get them separated from their card from some odd reason on one of their days off, and I have a card duplicator or something, and we can dupe the card and then go back and try and use his card to get in the building, that may be something. But we can't just like knock them the fuck out.
Correct.
I'm still up for breaking in.
Do we have any indication of how long it might take to get the information that we're looking for?
A couple days. Because you got to take pictures of the people who are all leaving.
No. I mean, like,
How long is the net run going to take?
Yeah.
It depends on how much trouble she has with the fences on the inside. Could take a couple seconds, could take an hour.
Shit.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy.
I don't know. I'm leaning towards breaking in at night. Less people
Probably
around.
It's probably our best bet without the solo.
And then if need be, if you can't shut down or delay security enough, we bail.
Yeah.
So now, Z does have a map of the architecture.
Yep.
And
Right,
when
yeah.
you were last there, which was probably at this point in time like a week ago, you do know of three, at least there were three access points. One in the bodega, one in this office up on the top right of the map that looks like a little like some sort of therapist office or something of that nature. And then there's one in the back office down in the south part of the map, which is more like back towards the loading areas and docks.
Right. The one I would think would probably be easier to get into would be the dock.
What would be good to know as far as like prep work and surveillance would be what kind of staff is on duty at night. Like what might be around? Like, is there an overnight janitor? Are there multiple overnight janitors? Is there other kinds of overnight work going on? That kind of thing. That would be good to know.
I don't know. It's all built into my helmet. We could take the camera out of my helmet and
No, not anymore.
Polly immediately, no.
All right.
Consider
gonna say,
the camera and your helmet to be one.
Right.
Yeah, if that
There are
ain't
no,
happening.
they will never separate. Well, they
Nope.
could, but it'd be a whole other process to get a new
Right.
frame.
No,
and
I'm
all
just
this other
thinking
shit.
if I could, just kind of scope it out and be stealthy at night, I can get us that information through the video camera that's in my helmet.
So
But
I'm
in the
hearing,
end, my stealth is not that great.
so I'm hearing stakeout, essentially.
Yeah,
effectively.
because
Pretty much.
I've got
Either that or breaking in
teleoptics.
straight up.
I got teleoptics and image enhancers, so
Right.
built into my helmet. So
Zoom in enhance.
We got pretty good stealth.
Parking for a good stakeout location would be on Max, since Max is the driver of the Thunderbird station wagon you guys have.
Yep.
So Max, why don't you go ahead and roll me a stealth roll as you set up for a stakeout one evening?
I will roll my stealth.
since he's using his card to get add his nomad bullshittery to it.
He does not. No, but when the car stands still, he's
Yep.
got
It's
the
invisible.
cloaking field.
Yep.
That's
I'm sorry, we have
true.
a fucking what now?
Yeah,
Oh,
we have
yeah.
a cloaking field now.
Yeah.
You were a
Yep.
little
Forgot about
tipsy
that.
when that got brought up.
Okay.
A 20.
By the way, when
Nice.
I have time and I get enough materials, I'm adding on a level 1 nomad mod to the vehicle.
Against a security force who gets a 17. So you park the vehicle, you find a shadowy corner like where one of the streetlights may be out a little bit, and you find a good spot to leave it there, and you let it sit, you let it idle and slowly turn it off. You activate the security field, which cloaks the goddamn vehicle. As this happens, you see a security guard walking in towards his shift. He's wearing a nice suit. He's heading towards this side door down by by where the light is right here. And when the Thunderbird fades from view, he kind of like looks over in that direction, like, what the fuck was that? Like something changed in his peripheral. But he stands there for a second. He's like, must be nothing, and walks inside.
Right.
As you guys sit here for the evening, you see roughly,
I'm going to record everything.
okay, you see roughly about 5 or 6 security guards enter the building, coming in for their shift. You will see a couple of maintenance people walk in, a couple dock workers that go around the back,
Ooh, dock workers.
maybe
That's
2 or
good
3 of
too.
them. It looks like they're basically taking all the trash containers from inside, pulling them out for the people to pick up in the morning, and just cleaning the back area. They're there for maybe 2 or 3 hours, and they head out. Five security guards go in that you see, and they stay there for several hours throughout the night. As you guys stay for that first night of your stakeout, do you guys stay all night, or how long do you want to stay?
Stay all night. Might as well
Yeah, I
see
think we
what
should
all
stay all
happens.
Yeah, at least for the first night, anyways.
Shift change hits around 6:30, 7 o'clock. It's when you'll see people start showing up for work. The janitors leave around 5 o'clock in the morning. You will see roughly about 40 or 50 people enter the building for the day from various entrances. You will see security swaps out at 7:30.
So at the 5 a.m. mark, that is when there would be the fewest amount of people in the building, because by that time maintenance is gone and that's the time that the janitors leave. So at that point in time, it would be just the handful of security guards, if I heard you right.
Yes.
And probably the net runner.
Because the dock workers are there for like three hours, maybe 4 at most. They're just clearing stuff out. And you guys see the trash gets picked up in the morning. Like, they just basically do maintenance on the dock, check everything is fine, pull all the shit outside so that the places can pick it up in the morning, and they head out with it. And then they leave. So they're only there till like maybe 3 or 4. The janitors leave at like 5. And between 5 and 7, between 5 and 6:30, we'll say, just to be safe, that's when there's just a handful of security in the building that you guys saw.
And the idea is, if I'm looking at this map, we need to get the net runner within line of sight of one of these computer symbols.
Yes.
Yes.
Because those are the nodes. Those are the access nodes. That's what you guys got. Now, more than likely, security-wise for the docks, those being the weak point, there's going to be at least a patrol that goes by there. There's going to be on the tour for every security guard that comes by that direction.
If not an actual stationed security guard.
True. More than likely, you can at least depend on a tour. And to be honest, most security that's overnight, they're going on tours, rotating tours. There's probably going to be a security station, somebody manning cameras, and then everybody else, when it's off business hours, they'll be running tours.
So then what we need to do, the first thing we need to do is figure out how to get those cameras at the docks on loop.
Well, that's doable, provided I find the node that has the cameras.
Right. And we need to figure that out.
Which, if I remember correctly, that should be about here.
It's going to be on the 6th floor of the architecture. So
So
yeah,
it's
right
going to
about
take
there
me a
before
hot
it
minute
goes
to
up.
get there.
Okay.
Now, my question is, would it be easier to keep me up here in the dark versus putting me here where they're going to actively patrol and be looking for shit wrong? Versus somewhere where they're going to be probably a little bit more lax.
Wherever you need to get is where we need to go. So whichever one of those areas we decide, that's what we're going to focus on.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I would say it's probably easier and with less traffic to put us up front. That way, if there's more noise coming our direction, we know that's the security patrol. Versus all of the hustle, bustle, and shuffle on a dock.
There's not any.
Right, because the dock workers will be gone by the time we go in.
If you guys wait till like after 5 a.m., there's not anybody bustling around back there. It's all done.
But the reason I think that you're thinking it's more dangerous is because that would be the place where people would more likely try and think was the weak point to get in.
And stick around to hide.
So that's probably where there's going to be more security, or at least security is going to be paying closer attention.
Versus in an
that
office
area.
that belongs to some member of the corp, where they probably look the other way quite a bit.
So what are you guys thinking?
I'm almost thinking
This is pretty much for the most part on Z. We need to know where she needs to be, so we can get her there.
So
that's
you already know where I have
point?
to be. I just have to be in line of sight of a terminal.
Right. Which is the best terminal for you to be at to get you to where you need to be the easiest or fastest, however you want to look at it.
Well,
the way I see it,
the bodega's open until probably 11 o'clock at night. So that closes down after midnight, essentially. So there's still going to be activity there until then. But if you're not going until after 5, then at that point, all 3 of those access points are going to be in the dark, essentially.
Which point I would say the office is probably the safest bet. We go into the bodega, that's going to have alarms. The office is probably still going to have alarms too, but more for if somebody smashes that front window.
So you're thinking the top right here?
Yes.
What's this area here? Is this the
That's the bodega.
That's bodega.
it's a convenience store area.
all right, that's a no. I'm almost thinking, I'm almost trying to formulate a plan for some sort of a decoy down at the dock area, to attract attention there, so that there's like that's where security is attracted to, while other shit's going on up at the real terminal.
That's not a bad idea.
But that might require another, because like the idea that I'm thinking of is like
An accident.
I throw on a disguise, like obviously not my mask or my face, but like whatever, throw something on, and we somehow get a hold of another vehicle, like a delivery vehicle or something, and I pull it back there after hours with some kind of bullshit excuse for why I'm there to pick something up, and then I get into some kind of an argument with them, and then security has to come out and deal with me and kick me out, and I try and buy as much time arguing, going back and forth as I can to buy time for people to at least sneak in up at the real terminal, not necessarily do the whole run, but at least get in place. And
So
then
you're talking
I eventually
something
fuck
like
up.
like show up in a pickup truck and start rummaging through the trash, go dumpster
Something like
diving,
that.
basically.
Like not enough to like bring any real heat, like they're gonna start shooting at me, like there's gonna be a fight or something, but to cause some sort of an interaction that has to take place to where they have to deal with me socially and tell me to fuck off, and I drag that out as long as I can until it's at the point where it's like, we're gonna call the police, we're gonna call the car or security or whatever to haul you out of here.
What about a vagrant fucking around near the back who's drunk on their docks?
Well, I want to be able to leave. I want to be able to get into a vehicle and leave.
Yeah,
and then switch vehicles and come back for the getaway.
Right.
So I was gonna say I can buy some alcohol, just take off my mask and everything, and go in normal street clothes, and be like that late, be like a wandering drunk from a bar or something, and I can cause a ruckus in the back.
Well, you could also go with him in a pickup truck and dumpster dive and be arguing over what parts are good enough to take and shit like that, and that causes a ruckus too. You know what I mean? Doing the whole dumpster dive thing when they got all this shit out there is requires more of an interaction than just some vagrant drunk.
Yeah. I want to push the envelope a little bit, but again, not enough to like it brings any real heat. Like
right.
Because I don't want to take me or whoever's with me out of the whole rest of the operation. Like I want to waste some of their time, drive off, switch vehicles, and come back around for the extraction so I can still drive the getaway vehicle and get for the extraction for Z. So that's what I got.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And is entirely doable and will help. At least I hope it'll help.
I don't think I could buy you an hour. I'm not going to do that, but at least enough time to get in the building and be in place.
Which point, having somebody else with me, like Polly, in case I get, zapped.
Well, when you're in, there's nobody guarding your body, so someone's got to be there to do that.
Well, she's aware of stuff going on. She can do actions in the meat space. It's just they're at a penalty.
Right.
So we'll do it that way. Vox and Max go cause a distraction in the back. Polly and I get in, hunker down, and break down some walls and hack the planet.
Bunker down.
All right, so the crew is set up to do their run on Continental. They've kind of ironed out most of their plans, and now they're getting ready to actually put it into action. We'll see how that goes next episode. See everybody then.